Good morning, champions. Today, I want to talk about something that most people fear, something that makes them uncomfortable, something that separates the dreamers from the doers. Being alone. Some people hear that and think that's a bad thing. But let me tell you something. Being alone is not a weakness. Being alone is an opportunity. It's a season of transformation. It's the time when you dig deep, when you sharpen your vision, when you put in the work that others are too distracted to do. Most people fear solitude because they don't know who they are without the noise, the distractions, the validation of others. But the truth is, when you remove the opinions, the excuses, the outside influence, that's when you meet your most powerful self. 2025 is my year. And if you're willing to embrace the journey, it can be your year too. Why am I alone? I am alone because I refuse to settle. I am alone because I have a vision so big that not everyone can see it. I am alone because success isn't built in a crowded room. It's built in the early mornings, the late nights, the moments when no one is watching. If you're serious about growth, you have to be willing to let go of anything that doesn't serve your highest potential. That means toxic relationships, distractions, self-doubt, and excuses. You have to cut the dead weight, even when it's uncomfortable. Because if you don't, you'll stay stuck. And let me tell you something, staying stuck is a choice. What am I focusing on? I'm focusing on myself, my mind, my body, my spirit. I'm setting goals that scare me. I'm pushing past my limits. I'm investing in myself every single day, reading, learning, growing, taking action. Because success isn't about luck. It's about discipline. It's about stacking small wins day after day until they turn into something unstoppable. 2025 is the year where I stop waiting for approval. I stop asking for permission. I stop explaining myself to people who don't understand the fire inside me. I am not in competition with anyone but the person I was yesterday. I don't need applause. I don't need validation. I need results. So every day I wake up and ask myself, did I get 1% better today? Did I take action toward my dreams? Did I show up for myself when no one else was looking? Because that's what separates the successful from the average. The ones who win in life aren't the ones who wait for motivation. They're the ones who show up even when they don't feel like it. Final words. This is my time. This is my season. 2025 isn't just another year. It's the year I build something unshakable. I am alone, but I am not lonely. I am focused. I am disciplined. I am relentless. And by the time the world catches up, I'll already be living the life I once dreamed of. So my question to you is, are you ready to do what it takes? Let's make 2025 the year we break through. Let's make it the year we stop talking and start doing. Let's make it the year we become unstoppable. Solitude is often misunderstood. Many people associate being alone with loneliness. But in reality, solitude is a gift. It is in these moments of quiet, away from the noise of the world, that you can truly connect with yourself and your purpose. When you remove distractions, opinions, and external pressures, you gain the ability to hear your own thoughts clearly. You begin to understand what drives you, what excites you, and what you need to do to elevate yourself to the next level. Most people avoid being alone because it forces them to face their reality. They fill their time with endless distractions, social media, television, meaningless conversations, anything to avoid being with their own thoughts. But if you want to grow, if you want to achieve something significant, you have to embrace solitude. It is in these moments of self-reflection that breakthroughs happen. You start recognizing your patterns, your habits, and the things that have been holding you back. You see the areas where you need improvement and the areas where you have untapped potential. When you are alone, you have an opportunity to take full control of your mindset. The world constantly bombards you with opinions, beliefs, and expectations that may not align with your vision. But when you step away from all that, you begin to develop a mindset that is truly your own. You start questioning things you once accepted without thought. You start challenging old beliefs that no longer serve you. This process is essential because success is largely a mental game. If your mind is cluttered with external influences, you will struggle to find the clarity needed to take decisive action toward your goals. Being alone allows you to set your priorities straight. In a world full of distractions, most people spend their time on things that don't move them forward. They waste hours scrolling through their phones, watching other people live their lives instead of building their own. But when you consciously choose solitude, you gain the ability to focus on what truly matters. You can identify what's important, what deserves your time and energy, and what is simply a distraction. You become intentional about how you spend your days, and as a result, you start making massive progress in areas that actually matter. One of the biggest benefits of solitude is self-awareness. Many people go through life without truly knowing who they are. They follow trends, they conform to social norms, and they make decisions based on what others expect from them rather than what they truly want. But when you spend time alone, you begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. You identify your strengths, your weaknesses, and your unique abilities. You discover what fuels your passion and what drains your energy. This level of self-awareness is powerful because it allows you to make decisions that align with your true purpose. You stop living on autopilot and start creating a life that is meaningful to you. Spending time alone also strengthens your independence. So many people rely on external validation to feel good about themselves. They seek approval from friends, family, or social media to feel worthy. But the truth is, real confidence comes from within. When you learn to enjoy your own company, when you learn to validate yourself instead of seeking validation from others, you become unstoppable. You stop caring about what other people think because you are secure in who you are and where you're going. When you embrace solitude, you gain the ability to think long-term. Most people are so caught up in their daily routines and short-term gratifications that they never take the time to think about the bigger picture. But when you step away from the noise, you start seeing things differently. You begin to envision the life you truly want. You start setting goals that actually matter. You develop a vision that excites you and motivates you to take action. And most importantly, you gain the clarity to map out a plan to turn that vision into reality. Another powerful benefit of solitude is self-discipline. When you are constantly surrounded by people and distractions, it's easy to get off track. You get influenced by other people's habits, their schedules, and their opinions. But when you are alone, you are fully responsible for your actions. You have no one to blame, no excuses to make. It's just you and your decisions. This forces you to build self-discipline, which is one of the most important traits for success. You learn how to manage your time effectively, how to stay committed to your goals, and how to hold yourself accountable. Solitude also gives you the space to develop new skills and knowledge. When you are constantly surrounded by distractions, it's hard to focus on self-improvement. But when you intentionally spend time alone, you create the perfect environment for growth. You can read, learn, practice, and refine your abilities without interruptions. You can take courses, listen to insightful podcasts, or work on projects that push you forward. This is how you separate yourself from the average. While others are wasting time on meaningless activities, you are sharpening your skills, expanding your knowledge, and positioning yourself for success. Many of the most successful people in history have credited solitude as a key factor in their success. Innovators, leaders, and visionaries often spend long periods of time alone because they understand the power of deep thinking and focused work. They use solitude to develop ideas, create strategies, and refine their craft. They know that true breakthroughs don't happen in crowded rooms full of distractions. They happen in quiet moments of deep concentration. Being alone also allows you to develop emotional resilience. Life is full of challenges, and if you constantly rely on others for support, you will struggle when you have to face difficulties on your own. But when you embrace solitude, you learn how to handle setbacks, how to manage stress, and how to push through obstacles without needing external validation. You become mentally stronger, more adaptable, and more confident in your ability to navigate any situation. Another critical advantage of solitude is the ability to create without limits. When you are constantly around people, your creativity can be stifled by outside opinions and judgments. But when you are alone, you have the freedom to think outside the box. You can explore new ideas, experiment without fear of failure, and create something truly unique, whether it's writing, art, business, or any other form of creation. Solitude gives you the space to innovate and bring your vision to life without interference. The ability to be alone is a skill. It's not always easy, especially in a world that is constantly connected and filled with distractions. But just like any skill, the more you practice it, the better you become. You start enjoying your own company. You start seeing the benefits of solitude. You start realizing that being alone is not something to fear, but something to embrace. When you make the choice to spend time alone, you are making the choice to prioritize yourself. You are choosing growth over comfort. You are choosing focus over distractions. You are choosing to step into your full potential rather than settling for mediocrity. Most people will never understand this because they are too afraid of facing themselves. They are too attached to their distractions, their routines, and their comfort zones. But those who are willing to embrace solitude are the ones who will rise above the rest. Distractions are everywhere. In today's world, people are constantly bombarded with notifications, social media updates, unnecessary conversations, and endless sources of entertainment designed to keep them busy but unproductive. The truth is, distractions are the #1 killer of success. They steal time, energy, and focus from the things that truly matter. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who remain stuck is the ability to eliminate distractions and cultivate discipline. Most people don't even realize how much time they waste. They scroll through social media for hours, watching other people live their lives while neglecting their own. They get caught up in gossip, meaningless debates, and trivial arguments that do nothing but drain their energy. They spend time with people who do not challenge them, who do not push them to grow, who only provide temporary entertainment but no real value. They let the world dictate their attention instead of taking control of it. The mind is like a muscle. Whatever it focuses on grows stronger. If it is constantly distracted by meaningless things, it becomes weak and scattered. But if it is trained to focus on important tasks, it becomes sharp and powerful. The most successful people in the world understand this. They do not allow distractions to control them. They create an environment that fosters focus and productivity. They structure their day with intention. They know exactly what needs to be done, and they execute without hesitation. Eliminating distractions starts with awareness. Many people go through life on autopilot, never stopping to evaluate where their time is going. But the first step to regaining focus is taking an honest look at how time is being spent. Every moment wasted is a moment that could have been used to build a better future. Every hour lost to distractions is an hour that could have been invested in learning, growing, and improving. Success is not built in a single day, but through the accumulation of disciplined efforts over time. One of the biggest distractions people face is their digital environment. The phone, the computer, the television, These are powerful tools, but they can also be dangerous if not used correctly. Social media, while useful in some cases, is designed to keep people addicted. Endless scrolling, constant notifications, and the fear of missing out trap people in a cycle of consumption instead of creation. The first step to cutting distractions is controlling technology, not letting technology control you. This means turning off notifications, setting time limits on social media, and dedicating certain parts of the day to deep, uninterrupted work. Another major distraction is unnecessary conversations. People love to talk. They love to debate, argue, and engage in gossip. But none of these things move the needle forward. If something is not adding value, it is taking value away. Every conversation should either inspire, educate, or challenge. Time spent with people who have no ambition, no vision, and no desire to grow is time wasted. If someone is serious about success, they must surround themselves with individuals who push them forward, not hold them back. The mind craves instant gratification. It wants easy pleasure, fast rewards, and quick fixes. This is why so many people struggle with discipline. They choose what feels good in the moment over what will benefit them in the long run. They watch hours of entertainment instead of reading books. They procrastinate on important tasks because they feel uncomfortable. They seek comfort instead of growth. But the reality is, success is not comfortable. It requires sacrifice, effort, and the ability to delay gratification. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done even when it's difficult. It is the ability to wake up early when the bed feels comfortable. It is the ability to say no to distractions when they seem tempting. It is the ability to work, train, and learn even when motivation is low. The key to developing discipline is understanding that motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. But discipline is permanent. It is a muscle that gets stronger with use. The more it is exercised, the easier it becomes to stay focused and consistent. A powerful strategy to eliminate distractions and build discipline is creating a structured routine. A well-designed routine removes the need for willpower because everything is planned in advance. The mind no longer has to decide what to do. It simply follows the system. This means setting specific times for work, exercise, learning, and relaxation. It means eliminating randomness and replacing it with intentional action. When a routine is followed consistently, success becomes inevitable. Another key to discipline is setting clear goals. Many people struggle with focus because they don't have a clear direction. They move aimlessly from one task to another without a strong sense of purpose. But when goals are specific, measurable, and time-bound, they create a powerful sense of urgency. They provide a target to aim for. They keep the mind engaged and prevent distractions from taking over. Every goal should have a deadline. Every task should have a purpose. Clarity creates focus, and focus eliminates distractions. One of the biggest traps people fall into is thinking that small distractions don't matter. They believe that 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there won't make a difference. But the reality is every small distraction adds up. 5 minutes of social media turns into 30. One episode of a show turns into an entire afternoon wasted. The key to eliminating distractions is understanding that every second counts. Every moment wasted is a moment that could have been used to move closer to success. The environment plays a huge role in focus and discipline. A cluttered, noisy, and chaotic environment leads to a cluttered, noisy, and chaotic mind. If someone wants to be productive, they must create an environment that supports that goal. This means having a clean, organized workspace. It means removing unnecessary items that cause distractions. It means setting up a space that promotes deep concentration and efficiency. A focused environment leads to a focused mind. Another critical aspect of discipline is learning to say no. Many people struggle with focus because they say yes to everything. They agree to social events they don't need to attend. They take on tasks that are not aligned with their goals. They allow others to dictate how they spend their time. But successful people understand that every yes to something unimportant is a no to something valuable. They protect their time fiercely. They do not let others pull them off track. They set boundaries and stick to them. One of the most underrated aspects of eliminating distractions and increasing discipline is taking care of physical health. The mind and body are connected. A weak, tired, and unhealthy body leads to a weak, tired, and unfocused mind. Regular exercise, a healthy diet, and proper sleep all contribute to better focus, energy, and mental clarity. A disciplined mind requires a strong body to support it. When the body is taken care of, it becomes easier to stay on track and resist distractions. The path to success is not complicated, but it requires commitment. It requires the ability to remove distractions, develop discipline, and stay focused on what truly matters. Most people will never reach their full potential because they are not willing to do what is necessary. They allow themselves to be controlled by distractions instead of taking control of their own destiny. They give in to comfort instead of pushing themselves to be better. But those who are willing to eliminate distractions and elevate their discipline will achieve what others only dream of. Success is not built in a single day. It is the result of small, consistent actions repeated over time. Every great achievement, every major breakthrough, and every transformation comes from the accumulation of small wins. Most people look at success as one big event, a sudden change or a lucky break. But the truth is, it is the product of daily habits, minor improvements, and relentless effort that compounds over time. The problem is that many people overlook the small things. They dismiss small progress because it doesn't seem significant in the moment. But small wins, when stacked consistently, lead to massive results. Every decision made in a day, no matter how small, has an impact. Choosing to wake up early instead of hitting snooze is a small win. Choosing to spend 30 minutes reading instead of scrolling on social media is a small win. Choosing to go to the gym instead of making excuses is a small win. These small wins may not seem like much on their own, but when they are repeated daily, they create momentum. Momentum is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Once momentum is built, it becomes easier to stay on track, easier to push through challenges, and easier to stay motivated. The reason why small wins are so powerful is that they create a sense of progress. Nothing is more motivating than seeing improvement, no matter how small. When people feel like they are moving forward, they are more likely to stay committed to their goals. The mistake most people make is waiting for big results before they feel accomplished. They set massive goals, but fail to break them down into manageable steps. Because they don't see immediate results, they get discouraged, lose motivation, and eventually give up. But those who understand the power of small wins celebrate every step forward. They know that every workout completed, every chapter read, every task finished is a step closer to success. Small wins also build confidence. Confidence doesn't come from wishing, hoping, or dreaming. It comes from proving to yourself over and over again that you can follow through. Every time a promise is kept to yourself, your confidence grows. Every time you take action, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. People who lack confidence often struggle because they have a history of breaking promises to themselves. They say they will start a new habit, but quit after a few days. They set goals, but never follow through. Over time, this creates a mindset of self-doubt. But when small wins are stacked consistently, confidence begins to rise. The more often success is experienced on a small scale, the more natural it becomes to take on bigger challenges. One of the most important aspects of stacking small wins is focusing on daily improvement. The goal is not to make huge leaps overnight, but to get just 1% better every day. 1% may not seem like much, but over time, it compounds into something extraordinary. If a person improves by just 1% each day, they will be 37 times better in a year. This is the power of consistency. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a day, but underestimate what they can achieve in a year of focused effort. Habits play a crucial role in stacking small wins. The habits that are built today determine the future. Good habits lead to success, while bad habits lead to failure. The problem is that bad habits are often easier and more tempting in the short term. Eating unhealthy food, skipping workouts, procrastinating, these things provide immediate gratification, but they lead to long-term problems. On the other hand, good habits require effort, discipline, and patience. Eating healthy, exercising, reading, and working on goals may not provide instant rewards, but they create long-term success. The key is to focus on the process rather than the outcome. When good habits are consistently reinforced, they eventually become second nature. The power of small wins can be seen in every area of life. In fitness, a single workout may not make a visible difference, but exercising consistently over time transforms the body. In learning, reading one book may not seem significant, but reading regularly leads to vast knowledge and growth. In business, one productive day may not change everything, but disciplined work over time leads to breakthroughs. The principle remains the same. Small wins create big results. The challenge is having the patience to keep going when progress seems slow. Most people give up too soon because they expect instant results. They go to the gym for a week, don't see changes, and quit. They start a new habit, face one setback, and abandon it. But the most successful people in the world understand that results take time. They trust the process. They focus on progress rather than perfection. They don't allow temporary setbacks to discourage them. Instead, they focus on getting just a little bit better each day. Consistency is the key to making small wins work. Doing something once or twice is not enough. It must be done repeatedly until it becomes part of who you are. This is why most people struggle with success. They lack consistency. They start strong but fail to maintain momentum. They allow distractions, excuses, and emotions to dictate their actions. But the truth is, success doesn't care about feelings. It doesn't care about motivation. It only rewards consistency. The best way to stay consistent is to make small wins a daily habit. Every day should have intentional actions that move you forward. This doesn't mean every day has to be perfect. It doesn't mean there won't be challenges or obstacles. But as long as progress is made, no matter how small, the momentum continues. The key is to never go 2 days in a row without taking action. If a day is missed, the next day must be used to get back on track. This prevents setbacks from turning into permanent failure. One of the greatest benefits of stacking small wins is that it creates a winning mindset. When small successes are experienced regularly, the mind begins to expect success. This changes everything. Instead of doubting whether a goal can be achieved, the belief shifts to knowing it's possible. This shift in mindset is crucial because success starts in the mind. People who believe in themselves take more action, push through challenges, and refuse to quit. Those who doubt themselves hesitate, procrastinate, and give up too soon. Tracking progress is an important part of stacking small wins. When progress is tracked, motivation increases. It provides visual proof that effort is paying off. This can be done through journaling, habit tracking, or setting measurable goals. The key is to have a way to see improvement over time. Even if progress feels slow, looking back at past achievements provides motivation to keep going. Surrounding yourself with the right people can also help reinforce small wins. Being around those who have the same mindset, the same drive, and the same commitment to success makes a huge difference. Energy is contagious. If surrounded by people who complain, make excuses, and settle for mediocrity, it becomes harder to stay focused. But if surrounded by people who push themselves, stay disciplined, and strive for excellence, it becomes easier to stay on track. Small wins also create resilience. Life will always have challenges, setbacks, and unexpected difficulties. But when small wins are consistently built, they create a foundation of strength. They provide proof that progress is possible even in difficult times. When obstacles arise, those who have built a habit of small wins are more likely to push through. They don't get discouraged easily because they have already developed the discipline and mental toughness needed to keep going. The process of stacking small wins is simple, but it requires commitment. It requires showing up every day, even when it's hard. It requires making the right choices, even when no one is watching. It requires focusing on progress, not perfection. Most importantly, it requires trusting the process and believing that consistent effort will lead to massive results over time. Growth is a painful process. It requires stepping outside of comfort zones, embracing discomfort, and pushing beyond limits. Most people resist this process because pain and struggle feel like signs of failure. But in reality, they are the price of transformation. The difference between those who achieve success and those who remain stuck is their relationship with discomfort. Those who grow the most are the ones who lean into the struggle, understanding that every challenge, setback, and hardship is an opportunity to evolve. The human mind is wired for survival. It seeks comfort, safety, and stability. It wants to avoid pain and difficulty at all costs. But success doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from taking risks, enduring failures, and embracing situations that stretch the mind and body. The greatest breakthroughs happen when people step into the unknown, face their fears, and refuse to back down when things get tough. Growth doesn't happen in comfort, it happens in discomfort. Pain is a signal, but not all pain is bad. There is pain that weakens and pain that strengthens. Most people mistake the pain of growth for the pain of failure, so they retreat at the first sign of difficulty. But the pain of growth is different. It is the soreness after a hard workout, the exhaustion after long hours of deep work, the frustration of learning something new. It is the kind of pain that builds resilience, sharpens skills, and creates unshakable mental toughness. Struggle is not an obstacle. It is the path. Every person who has achieved greatness has faced resistance, failures, and moments of doubt. The ones who make it are those who refuse to let struggle break them. They see struggle as proof that they are on the right path. The body grows stronger by lifting heavier weights. The mind grows sharper by solving harder problems. The spirit grows tougher by enduring greater challenges. Growth happens when pressure is applied. Most people wait for the perfect moment to take action. They wait until they feel ready, until conditions are ideal, until fear disappears. But that moment never comes. Readiness is an illusion. No one ever feels completely prepared for their next level of growth. The only way to become ready is to start before feeling ready, to jump before knowing the outcome, to act despite the fear. Fear is a sign that the next step is worth taking. It means there is something valuable on the other side. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Every mistake, every setback, every rejection is a lesson. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than the average person has even tried. They understand that failure is data. It provides feedback on what works and what doesn't. The only true failure is quitting. As long as a person keeps learning, adapting, and improving, they are still in the game. Growth comes from learning, and learning often comes from making mistakes. There is no shortcut to success. There is no easy path. The only way forward is through the work, the struggle, the long nights, and the moments of doubt. Those who look for shortcuts end up taking the longest road because they never build the discipline, habits, or skills necessary for true success. Growth is not given, it is earned through effort, persistence, and an unbreakable will. Comfort is a slow killer. It lulls people into complacency, making them believe that they can stay in the same place and still move forward. But nothing stays the same. Life is always changing. Those who refuse to grow will eventually fall behind. The world does not wait for anyone. The market evolves. Skills become outdated, and opportunities disappear for those who refuse to adapt. Growth is not optional. It is necessary for survival in an ever-changing world. One of the greatest challenges of growth is letting go of the old to make room for the new. This means letting go of limiting beliefs, bad habits, toxic relationships, and old versions of the self that no longer serve the vision for the future. Many people cling to their past because it is familiar, but growth requires stepping into the unknown. It requires a willingness to reinvent oneself, to destroy old patterns, and to embrace change even when it is uncomfortable. Growth is lonely. The higher a person climbs, the fewer people they will find at their level. Not everyone is willing to do the work. Not everyone is willing to sacrifice for their goals. As a person grows, they will outgrow certain friendships, environments, and conversations. This is part of the process. Many people resist growth because they fear being alone, but loneliness is a small price to pay for becoming the best version of oneself. The right people will come at the right time, but first one must be willing to walk the path alone. Excuses are the biggest enemy of growth. People who fail to grow always have a reason why they can't. They blame circumstances, their past, other people, or bad luck, but successful people take full responsibility for their growth. They don't wait for the perfect opportunity. They create it. They don't make excuses. They find solutions. They don't dwell on problems. They take action. Every person has the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between success and failure is how those hours are used. One of the most powerful ways to accelerate growth is by seeking discomfort intentionally. This means doing things that are challenging, pushing limits, and embracing situations that force adaptation. It means saying yes to opportunities that feel intimidating, having difficult conversations, and taking on responsibilities that require growth. When a person consistently steps outside of their comfort zone, what once seemed difficult becomes easy. Growth compounds, and before they know it, they have become stronger, smarter, and more capable than they ever imagined. Mindset is everything. Growth is not just about action, it is about perspective. People who believe they can grow will find a way to grow. People who believe they are stuck will find reasons to stay stuck. The mind is either a person's greatest weapon or their biggest limitation. Those who cultivate a growth mindset see every challenge as an opportunity. They understand that intelligence, skills, and abilities are not fixed. They can be developed through effort and persistence. They do not let failure define them. They do not let circumstances control them. They take ownership of their own evolution. One of the hardest truths about growth is that it requires sacrifice. There is always a price to pay. It may be sacrificing comfort, leisure, or certain relationships. It may be sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term success. The question is not whether there will be sacrifices. The question is whether the sacrifices are worth it. Those who are willing to give up what is easy for what is meaningful will always win in the long run. Growth requires patience. The process is not instant. Results do not come overnight. Most people give up too soon because they do not see immediate progress. But real transformation takes time. Seeds do not turn into trees in a day. A single workout does not build a strong body. A single book does not make a person wise. But when effort is applied consistently, the results begin to show. The key is to trust the process and stay committed even when progress feels slow. Discipline is more important than motivation. Motivation is temporary. It fades when things get difficult. But discipline is what keeps a person moving forward even when they don't feel like it. Discipline is the ability to show up, put in the work, and stay consistent regardless of emotions. It is the foundation of all growth. Those who rely on motivation alone will fail. Those who develop discipline will thrive. No one can do the work for you. Growth is a personal journey. Coaches, mentors, and books can provide guidance, but in the end, success is determined by personal effort. No one can force someone to change. No one can drag another person to the next level. It is a choice, a decision. Those who decide to grow, to endure the struggle, and to embrace discomfort will achieve what others only dream of. Success is not just about skill, talent, or intelligence. It is about mindset, consistency, and the ability to take relentless action. Many people spend their lives waiting for the right opportunity, the perfect moment, or a sign that tells them they are ready. But waiting is the biggest mistake. There is no perfect time. There is no guarantee of success. The only way to achieve anything meaningful is to take massive action and commit fully to the process. The biggest enemy of action is hesitation. People hesitate because of fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making mistakes. They overanalyze, they second-guess themselves, and they stay trapped in a cycle of inaction. But hesitation is a slow killer. Every moment spent hesitating is a moment wasted. The people who succeed are the ones who take action despite fear. They don't wait to feel ready. They move forward even when they are uncertain. Action creates clarity. The more action is taken, the clearer the path becomes. Success is not built on thoughts alone. It is built on execution. Ideas are worthless without action. Millions of people have great ideas, but only a small percentage ever take the steps necessary to bring them to life. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is execution. The ones who execute are the ones who take risks, embrace discomfort, and push forward even when things get hard. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for motivation. They act. And they adapt along the way. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is that they need to have everything figured out before they start. They think they need a perfect plan, a perfect strategy, or complete knowledge before taking the first step. But the truth is, no one has everything figured out from the beginning. The most successful people in the world didn't start with all the answers. They figured things out as they went. They learned from experience. They made mistakes, adjusted their approach, and kept moving forward. Action leads to learning. Experience is the greatest teacher. Massive action is about consistency. It's not about doing something once and expecting results. It's about showing up every single day, putting in the work, and pushing forward no matter what. Most people fail because they are inconsistent. They start strong, but when they don't see immediate results, they slow down or stop altogether. They let frustration, doubt, and external circumstances dictate their actions. But success is not about what is done occasionally. It's about what is done consistently. Excuses are the number one killer of action. People who fail always have a reason why they can't do something. They blame their circumstances, their past, their lack of resources. They tell themselves they don't have enough time, enough money, or enough knowledge. But successful people don't make excuses. They find solutions. They don't focus on what they lack. They focus on what they can do with what they have. They don't let obstacles stop them. They use obstacles as fuel to push even harder. Taking massive action means doing more than what is expected. It means going above and beyond. It means working harder, pushing further, and refusing to settle for average effort. Most people do just enough to get by. They do the bare minimum and wonder why they don't see results. But those who succeed do more than what is required. They outwork their competition. They put in extra hours, develop extra skills, and go the extra mile. One of the biggest challenges of taking massive action is dealing with failure. Failure is inevitable. No one succeeds without failing first. The problem is that most people see failure as a stop sign. They let it break their confidence, slow them down, or make them quit altogether. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than others have even tried. They don't let failure stop them. They use it as a stepping stone. They analyze what went wrong, make adjustments, and come back stronger. Discipline is the foundation of massive action. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. If success depended on motivation alone, no one would ever achieve anything great. The key to staying consistent is discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done, even when it's hard, even when there's no motivation, even when no one is watching. Discipline means showing up when it's inconvenient. It means putting in the work when it's uncomfortable. It means pushing forward when everything inside says to stop. One of the biggest misconceptions about success is that it requires special talent or luck. But success has nothing to do with luck. It has everything to do with persistence. The people who succeed are not the ones who had the easiest path. They are the ones who refused to quit. They are the ones who got knocked down but got back up every single time. They kept going, kept learning, and kept improving until they broke through. Taking action creates momentum. The hardest part is always getting started. Once action is taken, momentum builds. It becomes easier to keep going, easier to stay consistent, easier to push through challenges. This is why waiting is dangerous. The longer a person waits, the harder it becomes to start. But the moment action is taken, even if it's a small step, everything starts to shift. Fear is the biggest barrier to action. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But fear is an illusion. It exists only in the mind. The way to overcome fear is not by waiting for it to disappear. It is by acting despite it. Fear loses power when it is faced head-on. Every time action is taken in the face of fear, confidence grows. The more risks are taken, the less scary they become. Success is a numbers game. The more action is taken, the greater the chances of success. The more attempts made, the more lessons learned. The more risks taken, the greater the rewards. Most people fail because they stop too soon. They try something once or twice, don't see immediate results, and give up. But those who win understand that success comes from repeated effort. They keep trying, keep pushing, keep taking action until they break through. The world rewards those who take action. It does not reward those who sit back and wait. Opportunities don't come to those who wait. They come to those who create them. The people who succeed are the ones who put themselves out there, take risks, and make things happen. They don't wait for the right time. They don't wait for the perfect conditions. They take action now, and they adjust along the way. Taking massive action requires sacrifice. It means sacrificing comfort, distractions, and short-term pleasure for long-term success. It means saying no to things that don't align with the vision. It means prioritizing growth, discipline, and results over convenience. Most people are not willing to make these sacrifices, which is why most people never reach their full potential. But those who do, those who commit fully, those who are willing to pay the price, are the ones who achieve the extraordinary. The road to success is not easy. It is filled with obstacles, failures, and moments of doubt. But the only way forward is through action. Not just any action. Massive, relentless, focused action. The kind of action that pushes beyond limits. The kind of action that refuses to accept mediocrity. The kind of action that separates those who dream from those who achieve. The time to act is now. The time to commit is now. The time to go all in is now.